Well, good evening, everyone, and thank you for joining the Business Professional Association's third Thursday engagement panel. Although the panel is going to be a little different tonight, so we're glad that you all have decided to join us. Certainly, on behalf of Bishop David Evans, Pastor Nicholas Smith, the BPA leadership team, which is Jane Ellen Miller, Deborah Dickerson, and Lawanda Combs. We thank you for joining us this evening. This evening, we're going to be talking about how to create a business plan. We've been working through a lot of information on how to present a good format for those of you that are in business, whether you're in business for yourself, whether you're working for a corporation and wanting to know what to do to get the business plan in place. You could be just starting a business. You could already have a business. You could be thinking about a business. You could be in a corporate environment, and it'd be good for you to understand the basis of creating a business plan. We want to give you some of those tools tonight. What we've put together for you for the next 4 months, including this tonight, is kind of a step-by-step fundamental way of how to create and be engaged in a business. So tonight, the next month, we're going to talk about the legal aspects of business, whether that's a LLC or incorporation, registration and regulation, depending on what kind of business you have, licensing. And then in March, we're going to look at funding and finance, and we have some exciting things there for you then. And then in April, we're going to talk about technology and social media. So we have all these platforms over the next 4 months that are going to provide you with some fundamental aspects of driving your business, whether you're, again, starting a business, thinking about a business, already in business, and just need some tools, or if you're in the corporate world and you want to be able to get a closer connection to some of these things because they may be outside of what you do today. So we're very excited to have you here tonight. We're working through how to provide you with all of this detail, and we haven't gotten that yet on how to make sure that it's available to you post the discussions. But please take the time to share. If you know somebody that's in business, if you know somebody that's thinking about being in business, please let them know, hey, Bethany is out there. We're doing a lot of stuff here at Bethany for y'all. We love y'all, miss y'all. Can't wait to be in touch with you. But please share that we're on all the social media platforms. I'm not the technology guy. They call me a picnic problem in chair, not in computer. But we are on all the social media platforms and would ask that you share. This may be able to help somebody with some of the things that they're doing. So we thank you. Welcome. And we're going to get right into it and start to go through the presentation. We're going to be looking at the questions that you have while we go through it and looking forward to what it is we can do to help you. So creating a business plan, very fundamental things to create a business plan, but a lot to it. We don't want you to be overwhelmed with the information that I'll be providing you tonight. Please get a pen and a piece of paper, take notes. Again, we have your comments, so we'll look to see what comments you have and try to answer that. I'll pause at times. If you see me looking down to the left, it's because that's where all the comments are and the presentations are here in front of me. So please take copious notes and we'll go ahead and get started, okay? Amen. So for the agenda tonight, we're going to look at a couple of different things. We're going to go through these 8 topics. Why a business plan, right? Within the business plan, so we'll just start with the fundamental, why do I need a business plan? And then we'll go through 7 key areas of that business plan in and of itself. The first thing will be the executive summary, company description, market and competitive analysis, very important. Management and operations, also very important. Marketing and sales, and there's various definitions for marketing, which we'll go over tonight. Financials, which a lot of people shy away from, but it's not much different than your monthly budget that you work on. And then a summary. So those are the segments we'll go through, and as we go through each one, I will take the time to look at some of the comments and see if we can answer some of your questions. All right. So why do I need a business plan? Why do I need a business plan? Well, some people are just, good at driving businesses and good at doing things, but it's fundamental to you in your business to have an understanding of what you're expecting, what you're really expecting to come out of your business over a certain time period. For some people, it's 1 to 3 years. For some people, it's 1 to 5 years. For some people, it's It's already established and they need to understand where they're going to go in the next 3 to 5 years. But it certainly provides you a guide, a roadmap of what you can expect for the next 3 to 5 years. It also can be used when you're looking to obtain funds from banks or investors. So if I have started a business and my business is going and I'm doing all right and I need to go to a bank or investor, and they say, well, okay, show me what you have. If I then have to go back and create that, that may let them know or alert them that I don't have um, some of the basics of being a business owner or being in business. Or if I'm in a corporation and my manager says, tell me about your business, you need to have that kind of information available. So number one, provides a roadmap. Number two, it can help you when you're looking to generate funds from banks or investors. And it allows for all relevant information about your business to reside in one place. So you can go to it. You can go to it. And we'll talk a little bit more about, is this a static document or a live document? Um, we'll talk about that in a minute. But as you heard Pastor Nick say last night at the end of Bible study in Habakkuk 2:2, it says, write the vision and make it plain. When it's written down, you have something to go to. You have something to go back to. I'm a visual person, so I like to write things, right? That's why you see the chalkboard behind me. I like to write things, but you need to have a business plan, whether you're thinking about it, whether you're in business, just starting, whether you've been in business and never had a plan, or whether again you're working in a corporate environment and you're working in a certain area of business that you need a business plan based on what we're going to talk about this evening. Okay. All right. Any questions on that one too? Not yet, just yet, but please don't forget, post the comments because we do want this as interactive as possible as we feed you this information. Now let's get into it. Business plans may vary. They may vary whether you're a startup business or an existing business. So if you're a startup business, you're thinking about a business or you just started up, you need to think about, what is this business opportunity? Why will I be successful in this business venture that I'm going into? What is the model for the business? What is the things that are going to shape how this business is going to be structured? What is the target market? Are you targeting a certain segment of the population, a certain culture, or a certain dynamic or demographic, a certain region? Where is the market? What about the competition? Who's already there? Is there anybody there? Are you the first to the table? Are you a first mover, so to speak, as we say? Or are you entering to something that has already been established? What is my marketing and sales strategy? And I'll pause there and talk about marketing just a minute. Marketing can be looked at from a couple different places, right? There's one side of marketing where it's, what are the trends in the business? What's going on in the business? What is it doing? And then there's the other side of, how do you present yourself in the place where you're going to have your business? So we'll get into that a little bit more later. What's your operational plan? How are you going to generate your product or service? Could be a product, could be a service. Who's involved in the business? Who's involved? And what is the financial analysis that you have over what you are expecting to do? That seems like a lot for a startup business, but you start writing those things down and it starts to flow. And then you see where you have solid information and where are those areas where you need to generate additional information so you have a solid business plan. If you're an existing business, you want to have a mission statement, which we'll talk about a little later, a brief description of your company, some of the major milestones that you've been able to achieve in the history of the company being in place. What is the finances, right? Give a finances of whether it's been a month, well, not a month, but whether it's been a year or a couple of years. What have been the financial look of your company, and what's your future look like? What are you expecting to do going forward? So that those plans will vary. And certainly the information that we're presenting to you this evening is not an end all be all. There could be some other aspects that you may not want to have in your plan, or that you may want to add to your plan, or take some things from the right and put it on the left, or take some things from the left and put it on the right. But these are some of the foundational things that you want to do when you're putting together your business plan. All right. I see a question here. Do you have is there a grant that can assist in starting up business? That's going to be when we get to finance and funding. So stay tuned. So that's not tonight. That's a good question. That's going to be when we get to finance and funding. All right. Amen. Let's keep going. So If you recall, I said you have to have an executive summary. That goes into the front of your plan. It's done at the end of writing the plan, but it still goes near the front at the front of your plan. This is a brief summary or overview that shows what the business is about and captures who's ever reading its attention. This is something that you want folks that they can get a kind of understanding. We call it in corporate America the elevator speech. It's no longer than a page. It's something that if you were to get into an elevator, right, go from the bottom to the top, that you could explain what your business is before those doors open. And that's very important also, because most of the folks that you're going to be looking to for funding or investing, they probably don't have a lot of time. So you're going to want to be able to concisely talk about what your business is. So it should provide a preview to investors or CEOs or bankers of what it is that you're doing. It should include some simple things like the name, location, and what it is your company is offering. So that's the executive summary. Again, that's written last, but it goes up front. Written last, but it goes up front. So once you finish the entire business plan, you'll be able to go to the executive summary and understand and begin to write the executive summary, because you have all the other information, right? You already have the information. Okay. So what we'd like to do now is give you a couple examples, just a couple examples of what an executive summary looks like. Okay. So here's a first example, and this is just an example for a startup. It's a product, so you start off with your product description or objective, your product or service. Again, this could be a service, it might not be a product, it may be a service that you're offering, but you give a description of it and tell the audience or those who will be reading your business plan what your company is all about. You also let them know, you also want to have in this executive summary what the product is and what is it intended for. The product, again, or service. What is it? And what is the intended use, or what intended service does it actually provide? And then you want to take a quick look. It doesn't have to be really heavy on how you expect your business to perform in the upcoming year. Here's my business. This is what I expect to do. Some of you have watched Shark Tank. So I like the show myself, Shark Tank, where they say, okay, what did you do? How did you do it? Why should we invest in you? Why should we give you some money? All those folks, before they go on that show, they have to have, a pretty solid business plan so that they are able to clearly articulate what it is they're doing. And then you want to be transparent in your plans. You want to kind of talk about what some of the risk or some of the opportunities are that your company might encounter. You don't have to tell everything, but you kind of want to be somewhat transparent in what it is that may happen or what it is that may not happen as you begin to go through what's going to be included in your business. And then your conclusions. What are the list of recommendations that you have? What are the suggestions based on the results presented, in the report of all the stuff that you gave above? And that's going to be then coming forward in the rest of the document. So this is just one example for a startup. Another question I see here is there grants that can assist in starting up a business? Yes, there are. But again, that will come in our finance and funding section, and not necessarily tonight. Similar to a LLC, that's going to come into the legal aspects of running your own business, whether it's LLCs, incorporations, licensings, registrations, regulatory, those type of things will come in our the legal aspects of running your business at a later time. Can you have a nonprofit and still make money? Yeah, you look at there's a lot of 501(c)(3)s out there that are nonprofit and make money. My wife and I had one. It was a foundation that raised money for childhood cancers. It was a 501(c). We donated a lot of money to local hospitals, and that was a nonprofit that made money. There were bigger nonprofits. Ours didn't have a staff except for her and I. But there are bigger nonprofits which have to have staff, and when they have staff, you have to pay it. So there are nonprofits that make money and that can make money. So that's a good question. Should someone include the need for the product or service in the target market in the summary? Yes, you should. And we'll talk a little bit more about that as we go along. So this is an example first of just executive summary for a startup company. Now this next one I'm going to show you gets a little bit more in depth, and forgive me if I go a little bit too corporate on you, but I've been managing multinational business for a while, and when I put together executive summary, I'm going to do a couple things. So this is just one of the businesses that I used to manage, and this is based on I'm a chemistry, right? So I was running a business where chemicals and the products were derived from pine trees. It's a very sustainable raw material, and these chemicals that were derived from that in this business description that you see at the top went into different things. Forget about the name. The first one is just a basic rosin or resin. You know, sap comes out of a pine tree that goes into inks, goes into adhesives, goes into paper, goes into rubber. The next thing was a acid that came off that goes into coatings, minings, and then something else that came off the paper mill, which was called lignin. But don't worry about that. We're just looking at the formatting here. That goes into these other segments, as you can see here. And then last, another product that came off that goes into pharmaceuticals and renewable energy. So when I'm sitting in front of a board of directors or some Wall Street analysts, this says, okay, this is the description of the business that Rich is describing. And then you move over to the right and says, okay, as I said earlier, for existing businesses, if you've been in business for a while, you can talk about, what have been your historical financials. Certainly I blacked things out on this because I had to, but this is okay. What were the sales and revenue in a certain year on the bars, and what was the profitability, particularly if you're looking to gain funding or what have you. And then in the bottom left-hand corner, we're just talking about where are all the products, how much of the market do they make up. So if you have a diverse portfolio of products, if you're into clothing, right, and you do belts and ties and sweaters and dresses and bags, that could be that lower left quadrant, right? So X% go to the shoes, X% go to the bags, X% go to the ties, X% go to the handkerchiefs or what have you. Kind of segment what your business is. And then if you're regional, and if you, this is depicting a global nature of business, but say you're working in the tri-state area, right? So you say this percent of my business is in New Jersey, this percent of my business is in Philadelphia or Pennsylvania, this percent of my business is in Delaware, or if you're just in Jersey, this percent of my business in North Jersey, Central Jersey, or South Jersey, or this percent of my business is in Marlton, Lindenwold. You get the gist of what I'm saying, but kind of really outlining what it is your business is doing. Then you can put a little section there that shows who are your customers, how many customers do you have, who are the key ones, and then of course we talked about competition a little earlier. So those are two. So again, we have a simple one that when you're just starting a startup company, you can say these are, or your company is not that big, or you don't want to have all the detail that are on the next slide. This is what our description is. This is the audience that we go after. This is what our outlook is for our business. These are the risks and opportunities we have, and these are the conclusions, or something a lot more in depth. Whether you're an entrepreneur in business for yourself and have been in there for a while, or working in the corporate area of what it is and how to summarize your business. So we've talked about why we need a business plan, right? And then we went to the executive summary, which is at the end. Which is done at the end of making the business plan, but will be at the beginning of the plan. Let me pause and see if there's any questions. No, not yet. Just some repetitive ones, but please keep sending them up and keep sharing them. So once you have the executive summary, what do? You move into the business overview. This is an overview of your company overall, right? And so in this overview, you can have a mission statement and a vision. You can have your product and or services, and you also have an outlook. So what are we here to do? What is our long-term expectation of what we want to do? What is it that we're offering? And what is it, the outlook for the business? Again, think of this as something that if somebody came to understand your business, that you could hand them this document and they could read it in such a way that they wouldn't have to ask you any questions, right? So it doesn't have to be, too deep. As Bishop always says, when you get too deep, then you get dumb. It doesn't have to be deep. You want to have a document that will clearly articulate what it is you're doing so that if you hand it to me and I have to go, I can read through it. Certainly I may, scribble some questions on it, but it gives me a good understanding of what it is you're trying to do. So mission, statement, and vision. Let's go through some definitions so you can write this stuff down again. A mission statement is simply a brief description of an entity's fundamental purpose, answering, why does this business exist? Why does this business exist? And I give you an example here. An example is simply Uber. Uber is we ignite opportunity by setting the world in motion. Pretty simple, right? Pretty basic. Uber, what is it? Everybody knows what Uber is. Uber is a transportation vehicle that allows you to, use your mobile phone and say, I need to go such and such a place, and the car comes by and picks you up, takes you where you want to go. So their mission statement is simply, we ignite opportunity by setting the world in motion. Pretty clear, pretty distinct, right? So again, a brief description of an entity's fundamental purpose, answering, why does my business exist? And then you go from there to what is going to be your vision statement. And the vision statement is simply a description of what the company desires to achieve in the long run. A vision statement is simply a statement that describes what the company desires to achieve in the long run. And the example here we have is Facebook. Facebook, connect with friends and the world around you on Facebook. I'm not on Facebook, but connect with friends and the world around you on Facebook. How many people has Facebook connected with? How many friends has Facebook allowed to connect with people with each other, right? So whether it's friends, whether it's acquaintances, people have met each other, people have been able to generate leads for their businesses. People have been given the opportunity to do something simple as engage through this vehicle called Facebook. And that's what their vision statement was. And based on Mark Zuckerberg and what he's been able to do, I think you can say he's been successful. And Uber is being pretty successful too, right? They're coming around. They just IPO'd last year in an initial public offering. So they became a company, went on Wall Street last year. So vision statement, mission statement. It sometimes can take a while to do those, and you want to get the right words. Words matter. So you take the time to not just jot something down. Some people are very good with that. It's okay to if you write a vision statement or a mission statement, to ask some other folks what their opinions are. They may give you a word that gives it a different type of twist, gives it a different type of understanding, or a different type of ability to connect with what it is you're trying to do to make sure your business impacts the people that you want to impact. And let me stop right there and say it's really important, the words that you put on these paper, and think about an acronym that I have, and it's simply IBI. IBI. Impact, intent, behavior, impact. Intent, behavior, impact. What is my intent in putting this document together, which is going to help drive my behavior to how I formulate it, so that it will then be able to be received or impact a person in a certain way. You can use that with a business plan. You can use that just interacting with people. But what's going to be my intent, which will help drive my behavior so that it impacts the people or peoples in a way that is beneficial to the message that you're trying to deliver. So mission statement and vision. That's one. And then you want to have products and services. What are the products and services provided? So you say, well, you just talked about on the executive summary, Rich. Why are you reasoning? Well, the executive summary was a summary, right? Executive summary was a summary. The business overview, I'm putting everything here on one page, right? But that doesn't mean all this information has to be on one page. This business overview can be a three or four page document within your plan. So, what products and services are provided, right? What is it that I'm offering? Is it one dimensional, multi-dimensional? If it's multi-dimensional, you want to make sure you kind of highlight what each of those products or services are. What is the benefit to the customer? I'm sorry, to the consumer. What is the benefit? Why do I want to buy what you are offering, right? And be able to articulate that again. Words matter. And then how are these products and services provided? How am I going to get it to the market? We're going to talk about a couple ways to do that in a bit, but that is another thing we want to make sure we do. So again, it's not too heavy. What products and services are provided? What's the benefits to the consumer? And how am I going to the market with these products and services? Okay. And then last but not least, in terms of the overview that we're talking about, in terms of overview, what's our 1-year outlook? Okay. And when you're looking at a 1-year outlook, you want to say, okay, what are my risks and opportunities clearly outlined? What are the things that could go really, really, really good? And what are the things that may disrupt what it is I'm trying to do, what it is we're trying to do in the marketplace? And then the 3-year outlook, what is going to be part of your new business development? Are you just going to stay where you are? Or do you have a plan for new business development? Do you have a plan to generate potential investment in the event that you see a growth, but you might not have the funding for? So what are the things you're trying to do? And then, what's your 5-year outlook and strategy execution? Everybody's not strategic. That's not a good thing or a bad thing. Some people are better at it than others. Some people have ideas, but they don't know how to put that idea in motion. Some people don't have ideas, but they know how to get them in motion. It's okay to surround yourself with the folks that are good at some of those things. You don't have to be able to do all those things yourself. Surround yourself with the people that you can learn some of those things from, or people that have been successful in doing it. So I hope that the detail here, I said yes, these are in detailed descriptions. That would be correct. So this is your business overview. So you've had your executive summary. Now you've done your business overview, and now you're going to go even deeper into what it is we're trying to provide. And that is, what is the market and competitive analysis? Market and competitive analysis, something that you need to know. If you've ever read the Sun Tzu, The Art of War, it tells you need to know your enemy. If you don't know your enemy, then you probably not gonna win, right? So from market analysis standpoint, let's talk about market analysis first. What is the market? All right. What is the market? I have this business that I'm working on, whether it's cosmetics. Okay. Well, okay, that's the market I'm in, cosmetics. Well, how big is it? Well, what are we talking about? Are we talking about lotions? Are we talking about nail polish? Are we talking about facial cleaners? Are we talking about men? Are we talking about women? Are we talking about children? What is the market? How big is it? What are the trends within the market? Is it growing? Is it declining? If I'm starting a business, and I've been in businesses that we got in when the business was going like that, that's not the great time to get into business, right? But is it growing or declining? You want to kind of see where you are. Is it already a mature market, or is it a brand new market? And if it's a mature market, that doesn't mean there's no place to play in the market, but you really want to have a good understanding of what the current market conditions are and how they could impact what it is you're trying to do. So in addition to the marketing trends, is it a commodity or a specialized market? But why does that make a difference, Rich? Well, if it's a commodity market, listen to me now. If it's a commodity market, it's going to be very, very, very important that you have a very low cost position to get into that market. If it's a commodity market, it's going to be very important that you have a low cost position, because the market value always falls to the lowest cost provider, right? So if you're making it for $20 and I'm making it for $10, guess what? I have market advantage, right? So you want to understand what is it a product that is really based on, when you're in a commodity market, you really have to make sure you're looking at utilization, cost, and volume. That's why you make your money. Utilization, cost, and volume. If it's a specialized market where you're offering something that is either patentable or trademarkable or has some differentiation, it's all about price and keeping folks out of getting into it. Now, a lot of the businesses that we'll be engaged with over the next couple months are kind of in the middle, right? There may be a service that, whether it's real estate, whether it's fashion, whether it's IT, whether it's cosmetics. There's space for everybody to play, but you have to know where you're going to play and be good at that space where you're playing in. And by knowing some of these things that we're talking about right here, it will help you in terms of putting your best foot forward. Again, don't get overwhelmed by all this stuff. You don't have to have all of it. You don't have to have all of it to be successful, but you want to have a mindset of understanding these things. Is it an oversupplied or undersupplied market? Is there plenty of product? Because if there's plenty of product, it's going to be, you're going to have to deal with pricing unless you're in a particular space. Is it undersupplied? Well, that's a wonderful thing because you can charge as much as you want, right? If it's something that people want, but there's not enough of, basic rule of supply and demand, right? Basic rule of supply and demand. So somebody said it's a little blurry. Maya, are you seeing something blurry? I'm seeing it pretty clear here. It's clear? Okay, cool. Thank you. So competitive analysis. Competitive analysis. You have to, after you do your market analysis, as we talked earlier, you want to do a competitive analysis. Are there many competitors or few? Just so you know what you're up against. And as I talked a little bit earlier in the market analysis, but this kind of gets into the competitor, do they have a preferred position on cost? Is their location or logistics a big deal? That's not always a big deal. Why? See a CVS, what do you see? A Rite Aid. See a Wawa, what do you see? A Royal Farms or a 7-Eleven, right? So there's enough room for a lot of different businesses to act. So don't let that scare you, but you just want to know. Do they have a patent protection? If it's a specialized product, do they have patent protection where you're not able to get around that patent? How will the competition respond when you enter? If you're just entering the market, what's the competition going to do when you come in? Are they going to try to get you out? Or are they going to let you in, but they're going to try to continue to keep what they have or broaden themselves? You just kind of want to get a feel for all that. And then what weaknesses does the competition exhibit? That's really important. What weaknesses do the competition exhibit? Because that could be an in, and we're getting ready to go to that next. That could be an in for you. And if that's an in, you want to take full advantage of it. All is fair in love, war, and business as long as you're not cheating, doing any insider training, or doing anything unethical. Okay. All right. So market analysis, competitive analysis. You see how we're walking through this thing? Executive summary, business overview, right? Market analysis, competitive analysis. And then we get to some stuff that's going to look heavy, but it's not heavy. It's going to look heavy, but it's not heavy. Okay. And this is what we call a SWOT analysis. SWOT analysis is it's simple. It's simply what are your strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. Strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. That's SWOT analysis. You can do this on your own. Even whether your business is small, whether your business is big, it's always good to have a SWOT analysis. Let's look at strengths. Strengths. What are your strengths? What do you know you're good at? Or what do you know that you do better than others? Or what unique capabilities and resources do you possess? That would be a strength. And you want to, of course, exploit those strengths as you go into promoting your business, right? What are your weaknesses? What do your competitors do better than you? What can you improve upon? Certainly, both of these things are things you should go into a business, or if you have an established business, okay, and you're looking to do that next dimension shift into your business, you're here and you want to go here, not a step change, but a dimensional change. What are some of the strengths and what are some of the weaknesses that you can exploit? Okay. What are your opportunities? So internal strengths and weaknesses. What are my strengths? What are my weaknesses? Okay. Externally, what trends or conditions may positively impact you? We know that Even in this pandemic, a lot of folks making money on these masks, PPE, masks, gloves, sanitizer, cleaning material, all this stuff. So are there conditions that are about to come that you can see that say, wow, I need to get into that. I need to get into that. I'll pause right there and tell you, I was telling Bishop some time ago when I was in grad school, when we're talking about, wow, 25, 30 years ago, y'all. I had this class, it was called New Business Ventures and Entrepreneurship. And in this class, we had to do group projects. And my group, I still have the paper to this day. My group did a project on the home grocery shopper. The home grocery shopper. And our teacher said at the end of that class, we got an A. He said, out of all the projects, it was probably 5 or 6 in class. He said, y'all need to do this. We didn't do it. Missed opportunity. Who knows where well, I'm not even going there, but that was a missed opportunity. So when you think of something, you write it down, you got a vision, you make it plain, doesn't mean you don't act on it. Act on that thing. That was 30 years ago we thought about it. The groceries get delivered to our house. We don't go grocery store, they come. So, I just a little bit of encouragement. Just because you have something that may not have, you don't see the need for it at the time, doesn't mean it's not going to be a need for it. So look at the opportunities in terms of what are the trends or conditions that may positively impact you, and what opportunities are available to you now. And look for those things. Make sure when you're doing this analysis, because it helps your thinking of how you're going to position your business, what opportunities are available to you. And then what trends or conditions may negatively impact you, right? Certainly this pandemic has negatively impacted a lot of things, particularly in the service industry. So if you have a service, you have to look at that, say, how could something like a pandemic impact me? Right? Is your financial support solid? Right? How will the weaknesses that you identified above impact you? Those can all be threats to your business. Now, that is not the end all be all, right? These strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats, but we just want to provide you with the basis or foundation of what it is that you can look at when you're looking at this SWOT analysis. So you have a new word, SWOT analysis, if you don't already know it: strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. So that is, you've done the market analysis, you've done the competitive analysis, you now have done the SWOT analysis, you're starting to feel some fundamentals, I hope, on, wow, if I have all this stuff, then it's just a matter of going, right? Just a matter of going. Now, next, we're going to go to look at various marketing and sales options that are available to you. Various marketing and sales options available to you. We're going to go through each one of these. I'll move for the sake of time, because we do have a special guest coming on in a bit. But we have various options open to us. Could be websites, how you advertise, whether on your own or through various search engines. Certainly, when we do the full-blown panel discussion on technology and social media, we'll get a lot into that. Yeah, social media, which is social media optimization, social media marketing. So when I say social media optimization, how am I optimizing my use of social media to market my business and generate sales? Social media marketing, how am I marketing my business just in general through the use of social media? Am I getting on other people's websites? What am I doing? And again, we have a panel of experts that'll talk to you about that in a couple months. Media and PR, press releases, magazine, guest blog posts. Another vehicle that you can use. Certainly, we know that papers and magazines aren't as prevalent as they used to be, but there still are people that go to those magazines for help. Email marketing, newsletters, campaigns. Do you put out a newsletter on your business that has a way of attracting a person or persons to your business? Campaigns that you're generating through different media vehicles on email. I love word of mouth. I've always loved word of mouth. Customers, you got a product and the customer loves it, and they tell somebody else. Your employees, if you have employees in your business that believe in your business, or the vendors that you're using to provide some materials for you, are they able to also help you generate marketing and sales for your business. And then last but not least, events. Do you host events? Do you sponsor events? Do you volunteer nonprofits? And that gives you an opportunity to highlight your business, right? All these are various options and opportunities for you to be marketing your goods and services. Okay. I hope this is not too much. I'll pause and see. I think we're doing okay. Oh, do you need a trademark, a name, or a logo? Well, you should have a name, right? You should have a name. You don't have to have a trademark, and you should have a logo, right? Something that is yours. So I would say yes to all both of those. You don't have to have a trademark though. Don't have to. But if you don't, and somebody else snatches it, let's leave that question for our legal folks when they come next time. And so management and operations, this is pretty straightforward. This is pretty straightforward. A quick overview of the critical roles that make up your business. Again, these are all the fundamental pieces that you have in the body of your business plan. Business plan doesn't need to be 100 pages, 50 pages. It could be 10. It could be, I would suggest no more than 20, but it shouldn't really be 10 to 15 pages, unless you have multinational businesses going around the world, but otherwise you should be good. A short background of who you are, your name, your background, education if desired, doesn't have to be. A short bio, so overview of how you came to be in this business and what your personal vision is for success. So people can see who you are and have a little bit of information about you. And then the multi-dimensional aspects of the business. If you have a larger corporation and you have people, some businesses will just be you and you need to promote you. Some businesses will be multidimensional. Maybe you're the president and CEO and you have a finance person or operations person or marketing and sales and you have total employees. Folks need to be able to see that and what it is that you have there. Okay. So again, this is just kind of saying how I run my business. Who are the important people, or as I say here, the critical roles that are associated with the business. Okay. Financials. We'll get a lot more into this when we do our when we talk about funding and financials, but just a couple key things you need to know. 3 key financial record keeping sheets in any business that you need to become familiar with. Income statement, revenue and expenses, pretty much an example of profit and loss. A balance sheet that shows what your assets are, what your liabilities are. Cash flow statement, that you really don't need that, but it's initially, but it's a statement that provides the aggregate data, the total data regarding all the cash that inflows to the company that you receive from your ongoing operations or internal investments. So for the purpose of example, let's take a look at what an income statement looks like. Income statement, a lot of numbers here. Don't let your head blow up now. It's not that heavy. We're just going to look at, like I said, income statement. What did I say? Revenue and expenses. What are my sales revenue, right? What are my sales revenue? What am I getting from a tangible item that I'm providing? What is my service revenue? Service revenue may be, okay, I provide you a product, but I have somebody come do it for you. That's service, right? Somebody does that service for you with the product that we're providing. And some companies will just have one or the other. Interest revenue is if you have other investments and you get interest off of that. So that's pretty straightforward. This is the money that's coming into my business. And then expenses. Expenses, whether it's advertising, you have to pay somebody commissions. A big one is cost of goods sold. How much does it cost to me to provide the product to my customers? What is my interest expense? If I've had a loan, what is the interest on that loan that I'm paying? If I have people, what are the salaries and wages that are associated with that? So that is those are some of the things. A lot of the stuff on here you may not have with regard to your business. Bad debt, for instance. Bad debt is when somebody owes you money, they don't pay you, and you have to write it off. How many of us have ever been in a situation where somebody owes you money and they never paid it off? So that's bad debt. So that's income statement. Again, it's not that heavy. Revenue and expenses, what's coming in and what's going out. And then down at the bottom, you get your net income from ongoing operations, right? So that's what you made. You had on this example, $180,000 in revenue, 142,000 in expenses. So you made 22,000, right? So that is in and of itself an income statement. Next, we have the balance sheet. The balance sheet really is talking about, okay, income statement, revenue and expenses, balance sheet, assets, and liabilities. What I own, what I don't own. What I own, what I don't own, right? So current assets, good as cash, accounts receivable, that's money that's still going to be coming in. Inventory, that's the value of the product that I have on the shelf, or some expenses. You may have long-term investments, in things that is an asset to you. So it's not liquid cash, but it is an investment, and it should be looked at as cash. You may have property. You may have a store, right? You may have a vehicle that you use. That's an asset. It should go on this asset sheet. You may have equipment. Those are assets. So those make up those things that you own or are part of your property. And then liability. What are those things you have to pay out? If you have an office, you got to pay utilities, right? You have to pay for cell phones or your car or your gas or things of that nature. So those are also liabilities. And then long-term liabilities. If you had to get a loan to do something within the business, if you had to generate a loan, then that also is something that we need to make sure we put into the liabilities segment of our session. So balance sheet and income statement, pretty straightforward. Want to make sure that you understand the fundamental aspects of that and not be scared about it, because it's not that heavy. And as things go on, it gets easier and easier to do, right? So let's see. So that is where we went through all that, right? So we said we started with the executive summary. Why do I need a business plan? The executive summary, the business overview, right? The well, let's go back and see. Let's go back and see, because I'm forgetting all the stuff. I'm gonna go home, and then we'll go, before we go to our summary. So we've done the executive summary. We've done a company description. We've done the marketing competitive analysis, right? We've done the management and operations, who you are or what your company is made up of, one of the critical positions. We looked at marketing and sales, how you can actually go to market within the business. And we looked at the financials. And then that is, in fact, the foundation of your business, right? And then the last thing you want to do, you want to say what you said, you want to say what you're going to say, right? Then you want to summarize. After you go through everything, you then want to summarize what it is that you said. So in the business plan, a business plan, excuse me, is a document that highlights all of the relevant areas of your business, can also be used when seeking outside investors or funding, is a live document. This is not something that you just write, you put it away, and you don't look at it again. You should review it at least annually, if not often, and adjust it as you need to. Also serves as your strategic plan, which sets your outlook for the next 3 to 5 years. Remember, everyone, that the race is not given to the swift, right, or the strong, but those who endure, right? Those who endure. None of us came out of our mother's womb grown. So no business just is grown like that. You got to put the work in. Bishop always talks to us about process, and we want to make sure that we understand that we have to go through the process. So we have another question here, and it says, after you review the financials, can you provide your opinion on which is better, an LLC, a sole proprietorship, or working towards a corporation? Well, the corporation, LLC, limited liability corporation, sole proprietorship. Sole proprietorship is I own a business, nobody else owns a business. The thing that is great about an LLC, which our legal team will accept, will help you work through, is that an LLC Sole proprietorship can open you up to being liable yourself, where LLC protects you such that if something happens to my business and the business gets sued, they're not going to take my house. Right? They're not going. They're not going to. I still won't have a place to live because the business is protect. It's not protected. Well, it's protected, but it's a limited liability corporation. So there's limited liability on the corporation and not on me, right? So I hope that um, clear to the question. Thank you for asking that question. The executive summary is often written last because it summarizes the entire plan. That is exactly right, and that's what I tried to say earlier. Um, and that's okay. Um, our guest is having trouble calling in, but that's okay. If we don't get him, we'll get him next time. That's all right because we have some questions that can go here. So again, we wanted to make sure we provided you with some fundamentals to putting a business plan together, and it's not that heavy. It's just something that is good for you to do to have a foundation on which to drive your business, and a plan for you to work through your business. So again, that question, that's the sole proprietorship, does open you up to personal lawsuits, and a limited liability LLC does not do that. And a corporation is then even bigger than an LLC, right? So if there are there any other questions we have here, certainly we'd like to talk through them. Again, I would like to make sure that you all know that next month we're looking to do the legal aspects of a business. So that last question will be a fundamental thing for us to talk through at that point. In March, we're looking at finance and funding. That's finance and funding. So we'll get a little bit deeper into finance, and I expect that those discussions will be a couple more people. It just won't be somebody just sitting here kind of presenting to you. But for the business plan, we wanted to provide you with a foundation of everything that we're looking at. And then technology and social media. I expect there's going to be a lot of interaction for that one, and we're really looking forward to it. One of the things we're also trying to do at the end of each of in the last 10 or 15 minutes of our time, is be able to highlight a Bethany business that we have. Our guest for tonight was having some problems with connecting, but that's okay. And look forward to having them next time. But we want to take the time because there's many entrepreneurs, successful entrepreneurs, started up entrepreneurs, within the church. There are a lot of things, a lot of learnings that can come from some of the experiences that people have had, that people continue to have with regard to their corporations. Wide variety, whether it's services, whether it's products, whether it's accounting, whether it's legal, whether it's medical. There's a lot of people that have a wealth of information that we're looking to bring you and show you and showcase. Certainly showcase for you in the upcoming weeks and months. And we hope that this vehicle will not only help you, but you'll be able to see the fruits of some of the things that we're providing to you from a teaching standpoint, so that it gives you another vehicle. How many people, have the opportunity to sit and learn about something simple as, not simple, something as dynamic as putting together a business plan, legal aspects of running a business, finance and funding, social media and technology, that would allow you to do something like that. So we look forward to making sure that those things continue to grow. The BPA, the Business Professionals Association, is something that is true to what is the foundation of everything that Bishop teaches us. Whether we're doing it in a corporation or whether doing it in an entrepreneur venture, we're doing it all to the Lord, right? And we also know we don't work, we don't eat. So it's important that we do that. Again, please make sure that you share. Let us know. Send us a note. I think what if they want to send us a note about this? Can they do it at social that go to, or do they have to do it somewhere else? I don't want to give out wrong information, but if there's something you'd like to see, please send us a note, and we'll see how the schedule looks for the remainder of the year. If there's a question about something that wasn't so much understood, we'll also like to provide that information to you. And it is social at gotobethany.com for more content of what you'd like to see. So please do that. Just a couple announcements for you all. Certainly join us on Saturday morning at 9 o'clock, where Bishop Evans and Pastor Nick will be hosting On Point. I'd like to say the tagline, but I know I'll get something wrong. I just know that's the number one. I'm not going to do the rest because I'll get it wrong. But please join them. They always talk about various topics from a Christian standpoint that have to do with everything that's going on in the world right now. And there's a lot going on. Join us again, of course, on Sunday at 8 and 11 for service, and then we have a live talk around 9:45 or so. So join us for that. And a very special happy birthday to our most beloved bishop. Hardworking man, been with us for 30 years, and we would just like to have him have a wonderful celebration. So please send a short video. They tell me 5 to 10 seconds or 15 seconds or something, and they'll try to they'll get up on the site, wishing him well wishes. Sir, we're all sowing into his life. He's a young 69, so whether it's $69 or something more, whatever you can do, I know he'll appreciate it. We appreciate all that he's done for us and continues to do for us. So thank you for all of your time this evening. We're gonna give you 3 minutes back in your busy life, but we're really happy that you took the time to join us. God bless you. God keep you. I'm Reverend Rich. The rest of the BPA family will be with you going forward, and we're looking forward to seeing you again. Take care.